Hello, friends. One day, a famous music producer was passing by when he heard beautiful singing coming from an old homeless man. The homeless man's name was David. He had been living on the streets for many years, and people often asked him to stop singing because it was too loud. But David didn't care. He just kept singing all day long. David had no idea that this ordinary day would change his whole life forever. It happened thanks to one passerby who recorded him singing and uploaded the video to the web. In just a few days, the video went viral and millions of people wanted to find the homeless man, and soon enough, they did. David was so excited when the first producers contacted him, but they offered him really bad conditions, so he refused to work with them. However, one of the most popular music shows in the country decided to take a chance on the homeless man and invited him to perform on stage. David couldn't believe his luck. Could this be the second chance he'd been waiting for his whole life? Let's find out. When David was young, he dreamed of becoming a musician. To achieve his goal, he even left school early, which made his parents very upset. They couldn't understand why their son would give up on his education for the sake of music. "You'll end up on the streets," his father said when he found out about David's plans. But the young man didn't listen to him and moved to the big city. At first, everything went well. David found a small but cozy apartment and got a job in a music store. He saved money for several months and bought his first guitar. Then he started going to auditions and even got into a band. At first, the young man was on cloud nine. He could finally call himself a musician, although he wasn't making much money. But then came the moment when the band's manager told David that if he wanted to get more gigs, he'd have to start writing songs. That's when the young man realized he wasn't cut out for being a musician. Over time, the band broke up and David lost his job. His landlord also kicked him out of his apartment because he hadn't paid the bills for several months. At first, David stayed with his parents, but after a while, they kicked him out too. Soon, the former musician ended up on the streets and he had to do odd jobs to survive. Sometimes people gave him money, some food, or just warmly welcomed him, but they never asked him to sing. David was already getting used to living on the streets when one day a passerby recorded him and posted the video online. Within a few hours, it went viral and thousands of people were asking where that amazing homeless man was. The first producers who contacted David offered him terrible conditions. They wanted to make him famous, but at what cost? They wanted to use him like a rag and throw him away afterward, so the homeless man refused to work with them. But then the most popular music show in the country contacted David. They offered him to perform on stage. The homeless man agreed without even thinking about it. Finally, someone believed in him. Maybe now he'd get a second chance at life. When David arrived at the TV studio, he saw hundreds of cameras, huge microphones, and a large audience in the hall. All this overwhelmed him. He was very worried that he might not live up to expectations. But then the host approached him and said, "Don't worry, we believe in you." This calmed the homeless man down a bit. The whole country was watching the show, so David had to look his best. Stylists picked out a beautiful suit for him, and a famous tailor had to do some alterations so the clothes would fit him well. After that, David was taken to the dressing room where he needed to wait for his turn. He was very nervous backstage. At that moment, he thought about his difficult life and all the mistakes he'd made. But then he took a deep breath and tried to calm down. His turn was coming soon. Suddenly, the door opened and a woman entered the room. She looked very important. "Are you David?" she asked. "Yes," the homeless man replied timidly. "I'm the director of the show. I want to say you're doing great. We've watched your interviews and we know about your difficult life story. We believe you can do it." Her words gave David confidence. After the director left the room, David came onto the set. The audience greeted him with warm applause. He felt very good. For the first time in many years, he felt like people appreciated him. He started performing one of his favorite songs, and the audience listened attentively. Some people were even crying. When David finished the song, the applause was deafening. People stood up and shouted, "Bravo!" The director kept smiling. He knew that David would become a star. The next day, the video with David's performance appeared online and quickly became popular. People were discussing it everywhere. Some people said the homeless man deserved to become a star, while others thought he was just lucky. But everyone agreed that David had an incredible voice. Overnight, David became a famous person. Producers began offering him cooperation and invitations to various shows. The homeless man was happy to finally get his chance. He was able to buy a new house and get treatment for his many illnesses. Many people began helping David. For example, a famous singer helped him record his first song in the studio and released it on all digital platforms. David never could have dreamed of such success. Once he performed on the same show as a famous singer. Before the performance, he was very nervous, but the singer approached him and said, "Don't be afraid, just follow me." David followed her advice and the performance went great. They sang a duet and the audience loved it. Soon, David's life changed for the better in all areas. He learned that his music could change people's lives, and that was a great feeling. He also had a lot of fans, and he was always happy to meet them. David never forgot how hard it was for him to make his first album. He also collaborated with other artists and wrote music for commercials and movies. But no matter how busy he was, he always found time to help those in need. He began volunteering at shelters for homeless people and talked about his life story to inspire them. Also, David often visited the elderly in nursing homes. He said that these people were the ones who missed love and attention the most. Every Saturday, David traveled to different cities, giving concerts and meeting his fans. He was very happy that his life had changed for the better. His new life gave him a lot of opportunities, but the main thing was that he could help other people. One day, David got a call from a TV channel. They invited him to participate in a new project. The homeless man agreed, but he had no idea what they wanted from him. During the first break, the director approached David and said, "We want you to mentor young musicians who grew up in shelters. You'll give them some life advice and teach them how to play the guitar." David couldn't refuse. He knew that he would be a good mentor, and it turned out that way. The homeless man spent several hours a day teaching children and telling them stories about his life. In turn, the kids treated David like a hero and always listened to his every word. Their project became very popular. Many viewers cried watching the young guys playing the guitar. David was very proud of his students. He could see that music gave them happiness and taught them discipline. Also, David enjoyed spending time with the kids. They reminded him of himself when he was younger and full of plans. A few years passed in a flash, and David's students became real musicians. They performed in various places and even gave concerts in other countries. The homeless man was very proud of them. One day, David received an invitation to perform in another country. He was very happy about the offer, but he couldn't go to the concert because he had to rehearse with the kids. "I'm sorry, but I can't come," he said. "Oh, don't worry. We understand. Come visit us whenever you have free time," the organizers replied. And David kept his promise. He always found time to spend with the kids. After all, he was more than just a mentor to them. He was like a second father. Now, David's life had changed a lot. He continued to perform and raise young musicians. He never forgot his student days and always found time to help those in need. David often said that the most important thing in life was to never give up. Even when no one believed in him, he kept moving forward and eventually achieved his goal. Friends, let us know in the comments what you think about David's story. And that's all for today. See you soon. Bye.